Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I'm going to talk about Jason Aldean today. I have a very important question. I'm completely 100% serious about this. And Jason Aldean seeing this video, highly unlikely. But for his fans, for anybody, I'm 100% serious. I have a very important question. And some more stuff has come to mind. I did not, there's so many of these mass incidents that happen all across America that I'm sure you get this too. They unfortunately they blend together. They're pretty much daily at this point. And I had completely forgotten that Jason Aldean was one of the performers at the show in Las Vegas, one of the biggest mass incidents in this country, the biggest mass incident. That he was a performer there. The biggest incident of this kind in the entire history of this country. 60 people lost their lives and a couple hundred were injured. I had forgotten that because these incidents, unfortunately, I think me, like along with a lot of other Americans, have become desensitized. It happens when something happens every day. Unfortunately, you get used to it. And I forgot that he was a performer at this show. I realized that when I saw Sheryl Crow's comments, and she gave him what for. She said she's from a small town, and small town people are sick of this violence, and the mentality that he's condoning here. And she said the song is lame, and she says, as a survivor of what happened in Las Vegas, how can you, and all of a sudden it occurred to me, that, and I thought about the guy that actually did that too. He had nothing to do with BLM, and Jason. So he makes this song about small town banding together and looking after their own and all this other stuff. I have a question. I have one question. This is a big thing here. Okay, Jason denies that this song is pro-lynching. I hope I could say that. I have one serious question. Jason Aldean is from Macon, Georgia. Okay, 170,000 people. One of the biggest cities in Georgia. So right off the bat, I get the feeling this guy is no small town boy. He's making this. He wants to make a lot of money all across America for people that are feeding into this politicalization. He wants to make money off his fans. He's not no small town boy. And I started realizing I have a lot more in common with him too, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So he's from Macon, Georgia. This courthouse where this happened is in Columbia, Tennessee. The Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee. I'll be honest, I never heard of this before. I never heard this history of this. Here's the question: you're from Macon, Georgia. Why? This whole video is filmed in front of this courthouse. They're actually projecting the images of BLM, some of the BLM incidents. They're projecting up on the courthouse, and he's doing this whole song. Why? Why that courthouse? Did you get married there? Were you born there? Did your mother or father get married? Why? Why that specific place where this 18-year-old black man was lynched after being dragged through the streets, after being accused of being with a white woman? And I've done videos talking about this before, and I swear to God, I believe this. It's all about size. I swear, it's a lot of insecure Caucasian men. I think they're racist because they're scared of this. Why? Why that courthouse? Okay, so if you can answer this, please tell me. Is there a specific reason? Is there a reason? I have a lot more in common with Jason Aldean than I realized. I'm actually from a small town, Thomaston, Connecticut. It's where I was born. It's where I lived. It's where I grew up. I just recently moved to a city, the city of 60,000, nowhere near the city of Macon, Georgia, but it's a city all the same. It's where ESPN is. That's based here. The oldest amusement park in America, Lake Compounds, based here. There's a lot of other stuff. It's a city, one of the cities in Connecticut, not far from Hartford at all. And I grew up, and he talks in this song about getting a gun from his father, and something about the government coming and defending himself and all that. And I realized too that, my father left me. I've talked about this before. My father took me hunting. As a matter of fact, he took me hunting when we were 8 years old. And we ate all the meat from this. Every bit of meat. My mother still has the deerskin gloves from this animal. So we used every little piece of this animal. And he didn't teach me. He left me over 30 weapons, all different kinds. And he didn't teach me to band together against outsiders and the government. He taught me how to handle a weapon, never point a weapon at anybody, how to clean it. Never point a weapon at anybody unless you intend to take them out, hunting, what water to drink, stuff like that. This is where the similarities end. And I thought about that town that I came from, Thomason. Right? There's a link to a video. Right after, now this is all about that period of after the 2020 elections and the BLM riots, right? Or incidents, I'll call them. Okay, so there's a video right down below. Right after the election, about a couple weeks after the election, there was all this Stop the Steal nonsense. And plus there was all the whole taking the knee thing, which I believe in. I am a big supporter of Colin Kaepernick, a hero to me. So I came out of the library. My video for this is right down below. Plus, there's a couple videos of mine right down below. I filmed myself at this Stop the Steal rally. I came out of the library one day and I saw these people out in the middle of my main street, the town I grew up in, the small town I grew up in, and I was just sick and tired of this nonsense that the election had been stolen. So I decided to protest peacefully, like a BLM type protest. So I am a supporter of BLM. So I went there by myself. It was just a spur of the moment thing. And I parked my car, I got out, and it was just starting. And these are all the small town people from my small town where I grew up. And the anthem started, the national anthem. And I decided to take a knee, the Star Spangled Banner. And I decided to take a knee. And watch the video and see what happened to me. How these small towns, this is my peaceful protest. I was taking a knee in favor of Colin Kaepernick and Black Lives Matter and everything like that. Just my peaceful protest. And look what happened to me in this video. I was sure that I wasn't gonna make it out of there in one piece. You see the guy behind me? At first he starts off like this, because I can't see him behind me. He starts off with his hand over his heart, and then he goes like this. It's like he's seeing if there's any reaction from, then he realizes I can't see him, 'cause I'm kneeling, and then people just surrounded me. They all stood around me. I thought I was going to get jumped. And then as time goes on, he gets braver and braver, and he moves the finger closer to the back of my head where I can't see it. And I'm holding a camera filming myself, so I can't, and he realizes that I can't see him. And then at the end of the song, he puts his finger right up against the back of my head. He's all brave now when I'm facing the other direction. These are your small town guys. These are your brave small town people looking out for each other. Here's something that just happened yesterday. I moved away from that town, and now I moved into this city. And this city is friendlier than that town ever was. That town was full of distrust and entitlement. A lot of, I hate to say that about my hometown, but there's a lot of sense of entitlement. Neighbor talking about neighbor and who deserved what, and I had a bigger camper and I got a nicer backyard, and distrust about people that moved in. And I moved to this city, and every single day, I talk about this in videos, every single day, people of color, Hispanic people, black people, white people are all amazingly friendly to me. I have made more friends in this city in the last 2 years than I made in that town my entire life. Every morning I'm out for my walk. I talk to people, I don't even know their name. I just see them on a daily basis, and we start talking. They're used to seeing me. And this city has become more friendly than that little small town ever was. This small town that's become, it used to be a blue collar working town. It's the home of Seth Thomas, Thomaston, Connecticut, Seth Thomas clocks. And my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather worked for Seth Thomas, building the grandfather clock, the carpentry. And people remember that, just that one day when I took that knee. And I took a ride yesterday. There's a hardware store, and I rode back to that town because I had to help my family. I had some leftover bikes I was going to take out of my my mother and father's garage and put out for the garbage to pick up. And I didn't want that. I wanted to do it myself. So I biked back to my small town yesterday, and I went by a hardware store. And this guy that owns this hardware store has always, ever since this whole BLM thing, and when I took a knee, he's always harassed me. I've gone into the hardware store, and he's got this thing where he keeps asking me what I do for work. Like, he thinks I don't work, and he thinks it's his business to ask me what I do for work. He says, you know what I do? What do you do for work? And just yesterday, I went by there. And, he doesn't know I worked for 20 years as a Teamsters truck driver. I worked for 6 or 8 years as a architectural designer. I'm an artist. I have the YouTube channel, and I got about 3 other side gigs. But that's none of his freaking business. So I go by. I'm riding from my big city back to good old small town America yesterday. And this just happened, swear to God, yesterday. And he's outside. And he says, hey, haven't seen, and I didn't stop. I see him outside. I'm like, oh, man, not again. And I'm biking by, and I'm nice to him, He says, I wave to him, and he says, oh, haven't seen you in a long time. And he's saying this all sarcastically. And I keep riding away, and I hear him yelling at me as I'm riding away. Did you get a job yet? And as I'm riding away, like it's any of his freaking business, And so this is my whole, I'm actually from a small town, and I found these big cities, these big, more diverse, bigger cities, way more friendly than my little small town ever was. And I grew up with guns and all that stuff too. And I don't buy anything Jason's saying. Tell me, why did you film in front of this courthouse? Why? If this isn't pro-lynching, why did you film in front of this courthouse? Why show all these images on the screen and this courthouse? Like saying, like if you come anywhere near these small towns, this is what's going to happen to you, because that's what I get when I watch this video. Let me know what you think. Have a good Thursday.